gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the HeelCast. Joining Hurls tonight is the man known as AeDubpact Dude. What's happening?
What's up, brother? This is 2 weeks in a row, right?
Back to back in the win column.
Man, we're almost as regular as my wife right now. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know how we did it either because, you know, our luck in 2020, I mean, we might have only did probably a handful of shows. But it's good to start 2021 off with a positive start. So lots to get into tonight. As always, AeDubpact Dude, what is the shows that we want to give some plugs to?
Oh man, so all right, first of all, let's not forget Larkin. We gotta go Larkin, because I almost forgot Larkin last week. So Larkin, you've got 101 podcasts, so just search for Larkin, and he's probably got he's got more podcasts than I think Raven Effect has kids. You know that? I mean, like, it's bad, right? He's everywhere. He's our podcast tour, but he's our buddy. So he's got the Pop Culture podcast. He's got the he's got the Max Wrestling podcast. I'm sure he'd like us to plug that one. And it's probably also very important that we get the Lingerie Fighting League in there as well. And Lord only knows how many other illegitimate podcasts Larkin has going on. But of course, let's not forget our buddy Andre Corbeil, who always does us a solid and posts our show on the site. And, of course, our home, not home away from home, but our home as our home, which is, of course, impactasylum.net. Talent kicking it for over a decade at this point. Best Impact Wrestling site on the planet ever and ever will be. And I think that covers all of our plugs tonight.
You are correct. I'm glad you got it out of the way because I always forget. Even if I write it down, I'd still forget, so... Couldn't have said it any better myself. So,
or you plugged the wrong person. That happens too sometimes, Hurls.
Yeah, it does. I think even last week we plugged the wrong person. So, you know what I mean?
No, I mean, keeping it a buck.
That's right. So AeDubpact Dude, we are going to start off the show with an organization we really never, ever talk about because, well, quite frankly, we just don't like them very much.
I wonder who that could be.
He's relatively close to your neck of the woods. Yeah, that's the evil empire known as the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Oh.
Yeah. We have quite a few news coming out of there. So let's start it off with a couple releases. First guy that got released this week from the WWE, or actually got released a few weeks back, but it was not really reported on, is
nobody cared.
Lars. Right. Good old Lars Sullivan. I don't know if you know anything about this guy, or if you've even seen his work. What do you got on him before I kind of give my thoughts?
You don't know if I've ever seen him before, but you go first, right? I know that he was a professional wrestler. I know he's known for his time at WWE. I don't really know shit about him other than the fact that, you know, he got released and he's another big body at WWE. They like big bodies, and I think there's something to it. So I think that the other wrestling promotions should probably realize there's a reason that, you know, Vince tries and gets as many of these big bodies as he possibly can. Outside of that, man, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, when he first debuted, I mean, I do see some clips every once in a while, and I'll catch the occasional pay-per-view, and we'll get into that a little later. But from what I saw of the guy, they booked him as a monster. You know, typical WWE. How many times have we seen them book him? You know, book a guy, look really strong, and then a couple months later, he gets beat by either a Hulk Hogan or a John Cena, and is really never the same again. I mean, it's happened throughout the WWF to the WWF to the WWE's history forever. So he was pretty much booked like that. However, the guy, he's had a plethora of issues over his career. He got in trouble first because the first thing we heard about him is he had some mental health issues. So he couldn't be really relied upon.
He was working in Stamford, right?
He was.
Okay.
Yes.
How's that news?
Yes, I believe so. That's true.
I don't understand it.
Everyone who goes there has some mental health issues, that's for sure. Not only that, but then there was some past tweets where it seemed a little racist. I don't have the tweets in front of me. I'm not going to go look them up. But let's just put it this way. He got some flack for that, being possible white supremacist. I can't really confirm because I've not looked at the tweets myself. But I'll just believe it for this sake. And
I mean, it's 2021. We have to believe it, whether it's true or not. But
right.
I do think they got written down, and I do believe he apologized. So it's probably actually safe to say he actually did it, as opposed to he didn't do it, right? I don't believe he denied it.
Well, the beautiful people. Okay, I had to drop that one for a fellow HeelCaster, RVE, whose favorite band is in a little bit of trouble right now. So I'm gonna read some of this stuff because I brought it up, and I feel like this is the HeelCast, so we're allowed to read it. So these do not necessarily reflect the official position of the HeelCast, who, loves everybody but is universally hated by everybody. So it shouldn't matter. Now, he made some really stupid things. He said that they should be demonized for their religion. He wrote in a thread about Muslims. They are violent and have a violent agenda against America. That's a pretty blanket statement there. He's not talking about, a small sect of it. And then he says, and listen, Hurls, anytime you start a sentence with these 3 words, okay, geez, it should have been 4 words, but I'm going to read it the way it is. You already know you're wrong. Not be racist, should have been not to be racist. But it seems like white people are more willing to take responsibility of their own lives than blacks and Hispanic, who are all for government handouts. Now, if you have to start the sentence with not to be racist. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's a blanket statement.
That's a blanket statement, dude. I know lots of white people that like their government handouts, and I knew lots of blacks and Hispanics that don't take them.
Yep.
So I mean, these are things that have been written. This is coming off of SportsIllustrated.com, right? And he then went off and he apologized, right? Now he apparently also said that Kofi Kingston and R-Truth, quote, look like they could be in a prison block gang. Well, to be fair, that might actually be their gimmick. So that one doesn't bother me as much because that might have been the whole point of what they were doing for all I know, right? But he did eventually say there is no excuse for the inappropriate remarks I made years ago. They do not reflect my personal beliefs nor who I am today, and I apologize to offend anyone to offend. Look, bottom line is, I mean, that he's guilty of saying the shit, and he apologized for it. And I personally would say if you made a comment back in between 2007 and 2013 is 2010, and you might have been arguing with somebody on some website, right? I don't know that it makes you a terrible person or a terrible human being. At the same point in time, he did say it, so we can't sit here and say he didn't say it either, right? But people do say stupid shit when they argue with people sometimes, and they don't mean it. So I'm gonna hope that he didn't mean it and that he's a better person than this. But yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty bad. I mean, I didn't mean to downplay it. I never read the tweets that got him in trouble. So if you knew about the tweets and you were kind of yelling at me because I didn't know, because I was trying to downplay it, it's not what my intention was. Not at all. So yeah. Anyways, thirdly, he had a career in porn apparently.
So you know him then. Porn. Oh. So RVE knows him then.
Yeah. Yes.
Totally explains how he got that job in Stanford.
Well, did Pat Patterson hire him?
I mean, Vince is there, right? Between Vince and Pat,
there you go.
I'm willing to bet he was greasing somebody. Is
yeah, and how would they not know about it? That's kind of, I don't know. I think that would be, maybe it's something you don't say. Maybe you're just embarrassed. I really don't know.
Maybe there's a reason his push stopped. Maybe there's a reason he stopped getting his push. Crossed his legs or something.
That could Oh man.
The great part about this is that we were so ripping on Vince McMahon, and that's anytime that you can make fun of Vince McMahon, this is just great.
It's a good thing.
It's a good night when I can rip on Vince McMahon. Fuck you, Vince. You shut down WCW.
Yeah. That's my biggest gripe with him. Besides all the really crappy stuff he's done in the past, WCW always hits home.
Yes.
But Lars, the guy had an interesting look to him. He had that old school heel look to him, and he had an interesting build to him. He's a big guy. Vince loves his big guys, but I don't know. It's just like I could see the potential. Just I don't think he'll ever. I don't think anyone else is gonna try to sign him. I think the guy just has way too many issues, and one of the reasons he got released was apparently he just no-showed a taping. So that's.
Well, he said he retired, right? Didn't he say that he was retiring from the ring? That he couldn't do it anymore, and so he wasn't planning on signing anywhere else.
No, that could be.
I think I read that. Yeah, he missed the taping, and he had nothing but kind things to say about WWE and how they handled it. And he basically alluded to the fact that he was having mental health issues and that he just needed to get out of the business. And that's sad. I mean, you look at this guy, and I never watched his work, right? But he has a very unique look. And I'm looking at some of these pictures. If he were to just bulk up in his chest a little bit more, right? I mean, he could have been a megastar. I mean, honestly, the difference between him having a Scott Hall type of physique and the physique that he has could be the difference between him getting a Scott Hall kind of a push and not. I mean, definitely got the I am. Honestly, he looks like one of the Russians from back in the day. And God, I guess. Do I get branded as being racist for that now because I say he looks like one of the? But if you stop and you think about all the Nikita Koloff and Ivan, and Khrushchev and Nikolai Volkov, doesn't he's wearing red trunks in this picture, it's not helping his cause any. Doesn't he look like he would just fit in as one of those old school Russian guys?
Yes. I mean, that's why he kind of had a very foreign look to him, like one of the foreign monsters they would always put out there in the 80s. And even before that, he definitely did. And I mean, I think WWE had big plans for him, but just all this stuff just derailed him before his career even really took off. I mean, I heard good things of his work in NXT, and I think people were actually excited to see when he was going to debut, but it's just too bad that all this stuff just kind of spun his career out of control. I think the guy, he probably does have some mental health issues, and he's just got to get himself right in the head. That's what matters the most. I mean, it's just too bad though. He worked hard to get to where he was, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like I'm excusing saying stupid shit like he did, but I'd love to see the context. If he's arguing with somebody and then he spouts off on him, he's having trouble communicating. We've all said stupid shit when we argue with people, right? And just because now it's posted on the internet and somebody has something against, it's like, oh, I don't know if that really reflects who he is. I'd like to think that it doesn't, right? I don't, for the love of God, understand why his porn past would hurt him. Most of the females have porn, they do porn while they're there. So I don't know why this guy doing porn should matter. And if it shouldn't matter if he was doing straight porn, I don't know why it matter if he's doing gay porn. again, it just I don't get why that's a big deal. So that one I don't see why that should hold him back at all. I mean, people do what they do, and he wasn't working for him at the time. I would look at the dates on the tweets and the context on the tweets to decide whether I would do something for him, in the moment or not. Because they're 10 years old, it's like, come on, man, dude might have grown up. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens.
Right.
But it don't make it right either. I get that.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, the porn. I felt like I had to mention it because it was something that kind of went viral after people figured out that he was in porn.
Now, how's he hung?
But you're right. I mean, I'm sorry.
How's he hung?
I have not watched it.
Oh, well, I thought you haven't watched it. Isn't that kind of your thing? You watch porn?
Well, you know what? I mean, but that's not my thing. I am not.
This is true. It was gay porn.
If he would have done straight porn, I would have saw him. But he did gay porn, so I didn't.
This is true. This is true.
You would have hooked him up with, Ginger Lynn or Kristara Barrington. I would have saw it about 100 times. But
Hey, we should ask Larkin.
I think Larkin would be the man.
Did Larkin interview Lars? I bet Lars is going to wind up on Larkin's podcast here in the near future.
If he hasn't interviewed him, he will be interviewing him. Is Larkin available tonight? Is he in the chat?
No.
Okay, that's too bad. Yeah.
Find out.
We should really patch Larkin in. Just ask him personally. But anyways, I mean, hell, Paige can do about 100 different pornos. I'm sure one porno for him, is not going to matter. So, all right, let's get to the next fellow WWE wrestler that was released, Steve Cutler. Now, I have not. This is kind of breaking news here, so I didn't get a chance to really read it. I don't know if you have, but
I did. But I got a question. A serious question.
Yeah.
Is he related to Brandon Cutler?
I don't think so.
Because Brandon Cutler, did he go by Brandon Cutler in WWE, or did he go by a different name? So maybe they took this guy and they're like, we're gonna give him this other dude's last name.
Does he play Dungeons and Dragons too? I don't know.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting that he got the Cutler last name. And who did Brandon Cutler? Was he in WWE?
Not to my knowledge.
Maybe he wasn't.
I mean, yeah. Usually,
he wasn't.
I know usually who was in.
I just know he sucks, so I assumed he came from WWE because he sucks.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. He could have been in their developmental and never made it. I'm really not sure. I've seen Brandon Cutler a few times. I just know he's the Dungeons and Dragons guy. He had some pretty, I think he was showcased in the first couple Dynamite episodes, and he's been showcased every now and then, but
it says that he was there in 2007.
Okay. So Brandon Cutler was in WWE. I'm gonna say he was in developmental and never made it to.
I'm gonna say he was just like a dart match. It says on July the 30th, 2007, he teamed with John Mason, whoever the hell that is, against Crime Time. Right, sad right there.
Oh.
Then on July
31st,
he made his ECW debut. He teamed with Mason again and Jeff Michaels, and they actually beat Big Daddy V in a handicap match. And then he made his final appearance on November the 5th on Heat, where he got beaten by Vladimir Kozlov. So we can say he was in WWE, but it wasn't a very... they knew what they were getting, and they decided to get out.
So he was there for a cup of coffee. Okay.
Yes.
And he was on the third brand. Okay.
And he spilled it.
Yeah.
In Vince's lab. And wouldn't look it up.
I remember when AEW, that when they were talking about he was a 15-year vet, and he was kind of finally making his, this was kind of like his opportunity to shine kind of moment. But yeah, no, I don't remember him at all. It's surprising that they actually got a win on Big Daddy V, though.
Yeah.
anyways, Steve Cutler, I believe he was in the Forgotten Sons. I believe they got a pretty big push in NXT. And then the whole Gunner, Jackson Riker stuff happened on Twitter, which I'm not going to get into it. Wherever you fall, wherever your beliefs are, I'm not going to get into that. But that's basically what happened. Kind of derailed them. And apparently the guy got released because he had some heat with Vince McMahon, and that's as far as I know. I don't know. Dude, do you have any more details on that?
No, they said that he had heat. He drew heat with Vince, and that was pretty much the end of it. And there was nothing more to say, right? So yeah. I don't really know anything about the guy.
Well, maybe he can go to AEW and team up with Brandon Cutler.
Maybe. Is this guy?
Hell, get Jay Cutler.
Is this guy any good? Is this guy any good? Jay Cutler to manage him.
I don't think I've seen one match from him. I have the WWE Network, so maybe I'm gonna go check out, see if this guy's worth anything. I don't know. I mean, I heard the Forgotten Sons were getting. I mean, it seems like anybody in NXT gets rave reviews, and then they get to the main roster, and then they just fall flat on their face. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, but yeah.
So,
I mean, I've heard the Forgotten Sons got some. They were. I was hearing good things about them. I know Gunner, obviously.
So you actually watched WWE, right?
I did. Well, sparingly, yes.
I mean, because I like, you know, when they were bringing back all the old guys, like, I had to just, like, see who was going to show up, right? And I found this show just completely unbearable to watch. I mean, it was bad. It was just like, oh my God, there's people that are on the edges of their seat watching this shit, right? And I don't say that just because I hate WWE. I mean, I really dislike their product. It's not just my dislike for some of their sins. Their product to go, like, even if I like them, I would not anymore, right? But he's Gunner's partner, and is Gunner, like, I mean, he sucked. Like, let's just call a spade. When he was with Impact, he was bad, dude. And when he came back to Impact, he had not improved, dude. Is he still, like, just horrible?
They basically, after he had the tweet when all the riots were going on, they basically took him off TV and then put him with a guy who comes out and plays the guitar, not like Honky Tonk Man, but actually plays the guitar and kind of disses the fans with the guitar gimmick. Kind of that's the guy that Gunner was paired up with in WWE. His name's Elias. His name originally was Elias Sampson, but Vince said we got to drop the Sampson part, so now he's just called Elias. And lo and behold, yes, he does hit people. He does hit people with the guitar, you know, because that's so original. We haven't seen that before.
I've never seen that before, but he plays the guitar in the ring, right? Didn't I see him play the guitar in the ring one time?
Yes, he does. Yep, he does have some talent. Musical talent, I should say.
But he was playing guitar, and like it's a wrestling show. You know, nothing better to do than put somebody out the fucking ring and say, play some music for a while. I mean, like, this is the problem, because I actually think that guy I watched him like all at one time, but he might actually have some talent, like, you know, like, as a wrestler, as a performer, right? I mean, like, I don't want to be like, you know, like, completely you're just a schmuck, right? But the God's honest truth, dude, is that, like, that's what he was doing on the show. It's like, stop. We have 3 hours. What can we do? I got it. Let's have Elias sing to us for 10 minutes. Next thing you know, the Rockstar Spud and the Braun Panties match. I mean, you know.
Wouldn't put it past them. Well, they've had a Kiss My Ass club, so why not? Oh, gosh. You know, AEW, dude, I have to confess some sins to you.
God, I'm terrified.
All right, so this past Sunday, I committed a sin, and I watched the Royal Rumble. And I mean, when was the last time you saw a Royal Rumble? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I don't know when, but let's just say all I could think when you said that, when I was taking it seriously, was that would be 19. And I was trying to figure whether the next digit was going to be an 8 or a 9, and then I just started chuckling to myself because does it really matter? Because the number might actually be an 8. That's probably a 9, though. I probably watched one in the 90s. I had to watch one in the 90s somewhere.
Well,
I had 10 chances.
You had to have watched the Hogan ones, right? 90 and 91?
That's what I'm saying. I probably watched the early ones, and I might have caught one toward the end, too, when, Rock was around and it was actually somewhat interesting. It's possible that, that I did, but it's been 20 years. Let's put it that way. Number of decades.
Okay. So, WWE, I mean, I could go on a 30-minute rant here, and I'm trying not to, because I could explain all the reasons why I just absolutely loathe WWE's booking. But essentially, if I'm going to just put it in one big package of what I hate about WWE is they hoard a lot of talent, but their creative team is so bad, it's directionless. So Edge won the Royal Rumble this year. Okay, he started off at number 1. The guy's in phenomenal shape. I'm not going to take that away from him, but he's a little past his prime at this point. For him to win it at number 1 at this point of his career, I think is just absolutly ridiculous.
Didn't he retire?
He did.
He did.
About 9 years. Yeah, about 9 years ago.
So if you give him another 10 years, they can bring him back and make him champion. Just ask Goldberg. He'll tell you. That's what they did for him. He's only 10 years removed from a 3-second, mauling of the top guy in the company.
For the company that used to bash WCW on the weekly back in the late 90s about how WCW's roster was, over the hill, here's a fun statistic for you.
Oh, no.
Only 2 wrestlers in the Royal Rumble this past year were under the age of 30. I want to say a good handful of them were 40 plus. And I almost want to say the majority age of their wrestlers that were in the Royal Rumble were over 40, or at least 40 or above.
So we got into this week on Impact Asylum, and this is one of the reasons why you should go to Impact Asylum, and you mean everybody should go to Impact Asylum, because people were picking on WWE for having an old roster, and here was my response to them. How old was Hogan when he won his first world championship?
Gosh, he must have been late 20s?
31, 32 when he was his first WWE championship was over 30. How about when Steve Austin won his first WWE championship?
He definitely had to be in his 30s because he was in WCW for a while.
Mm-hmm. And I know it's almost not fair, but Ric Flair.
Wow, I'll say with him, I'll say probably 30 or 29.
In WWE?
Oh,
WWF?
No, he was probably 39, 30.
Right, he was pushing 40. Right, he's pushing 40.
Yeah.
So if you think about those guys and how good they were, and gosh, I should have pulled the number for, say, Savage too, right? The point is that, and you can come back and you can say, well, what about Rock? And I'm just going to say, well, that was Rock, okay? But these guys, they don't peak until their 30s, dude. So the fact that they're hoarding talent at that age level, 30 is not old for wrestling at all. Now, this comment that I put down was made in reference, they were actually talking about Bill Goldberg, and I said this in no way, shape, or form has me endorsing Bill Goldberg being in the main event and being the champion at the tender age. Was he like 52 or something right now, right? because the dude has less energy at this point than Ultimate Warrior did, right? So just to kind of put it in perspective, he gasses out in Ultimate Warrior speeds right now. So that's the ages that they were, and I bet you anything. I bet you Bret Hart was probably 30 by the time that he won his, right?
Easily, because I mean, all throughout the '80s, he was in a tag team, so
yeah. So I mean, he didn't win his until 1991. Bret Hart's Wikipedia page says that he was born in.
That was only the IC
57
right?
In 57, 91. So he was 30. He was 31 years old when he won. Or 34 years old, I should say, when he won his first world championship. Okay, actually, you're right. The IC title was 91. The world title wasn't until 92. So he's 34, just getting to that point. So when you stop and put it into perspective, I don't have a problem with them using older talent. Now, what I do have a problem with is them taking a guy like Edge, who is just, I'm sorry, dude, but you retired, right? And you got back problems, and there's just no way that they can count on you coming back. You're 47 years old. You're pushing 50. Now, I have never watched WWE since this is the point where he was, just Edge and Christian as a tag team, and they were decent, but I have a tough time seeing him as a as a top flight talent anyway. But that's because listen to when I watched him versus maybe when somebody else watched him, right? To be fair, but the bottom line is that you can't count on the 47-year-old dude. He's older than fucking I am, dude. To actually be your world champion. I don't care what you look like, you're shaped physically. He's gonna come. He's gonna go. He's got the gray beard and the rest of the stuff going on. I mean, it's like you just need to call it a day. You know what I mean? He should not be getting this push.
And I absolutely agree, and I myself as well. I have no problem with the age, of the wrestlers that were in the Royal Rumble. I just think it's funny. They were the company that would bash WCW in the late 90s.
Oh, I mean, for sure. Because they didn't have anybody old enough. That's what you do. You bash them for having old people, and then old people bash them for having no star power. I mean, it's just look at Impact. They bash everybody because they're like, well, all your people are old. This, that, the other. People go, we got no star power, so they bring in Tommy friggin' Dreamer and RVD, and people go, say, hey, you got old people. But wait a minute, you just said we didn't have start. So I mean, like that's just natural. Like fans are fans, and companies are companies, and they're all looking to make their mark. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he was married to Val Venus' sister, so there is that.
Oh, I did not know that actually.
You didn't know that?
I did not.
I thought you knew that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, the Royal Rumble was just, there were some good things that I liked, but I just think Christian, who also came back.
Of course.
I just think I've always liked Christian more than Edge. And it's like WWE just won't push this guy, but yet Christian just keeps coming back to him. I never understood that. It was almost like I think for Christian to go back to WWE back in 08, I believe it was, 09, it was like a pride thing. He kind of felt like, okay, I did my 3 years in TNA, now I got to go back into WWE and see if I can, win the whole thing. But he was never the main player over there, so I just feel like they always disrespect Christian. But
he came back.
I don't know. Yeah, he was in the Rumble. Yep.
Of course.
Yep. But I thought the women's Rumble was really bad. I don't know. I wouldn't say really bad, but the ending was botched. The Bianca Belair, who won the women's Royal Rumble, her feet hit the ground. It came out the next day. Pictures have her feet touching the ground. I just think that's hilarious. So WWE to me is just their motto right now is quantity over quality, and I think it's just absolutely terrible. They're making WrestleMania 2 nights again this year.
I mean, why not?
Oh gosh, it's just if they can make a buck out of anything, they're going to do it.
I mean, I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either, but their product is suffering terribly because of it. It's just like the 3-hour Raws. They increased their pay-per-view. From 12 to like 16 for a time. It's just too much, and that's the problem with WWE. I think if they really wanted to improve their product, they would start going with quality over quantity, but they're doing quantity over quality. So it is what it is. I'm glad I'm not a fan of them, because I would be absolutely I don't know, but anyways, so I had to confess my sins for what I did over the weekend. So
yeah, you're gonna have to say your penance now. I'm thinking like 6 rosaries.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we're gonna make you report on Lars Sullivan. I want to call him Lars Ulrich, of course, right? We're gonna make you report on his porn, and that's gonna be your penance.
Oh, that's gonna be torture. Oh, that's torture.
Could be worse. Wow. I can make you watch it with RVE.
Okay. Wow.
I wouldn't get too close when you're watching it, though. You might find yourself in a sticky situation.
I hope RVE listens to this. I really do.
I think he just started randomly muttering motherfucker, damn dude, motherfucker. He doesn't even know why he's doing it right now. His nose is itching.
We're gonna have a 5-minute RVE rant just on this episode alone.
Yo.
Gosh.
I miss our Ravens rants.
Yeah, we definitely need to. I don't know when he'll be able to come back on the show, but we at least if he could give us a rant, that would be great. I mean, that just something, you know.
Yeah, and I did have had a couple RVE sightings over the last couple of days, so we can affirm he is not currently incarcerated. Although by the time this show goes live tomorrow, he may be. You never can tell.
Yeah. I can never tell if RV is incarcerated at any point in his life, to be honest with you, because it would not surprise me at any time.
No.
And that's no offense to the guy, but
nah, him or Griggs for that fact.
Oh god, yeah, Griggs, wow.
I mean, you all want to talk about Hood right there, Griggs.
Griggs is the definition of Hood.
Oh man,
you look at him wrong, you're in trouble. Let's just put it that way.
Oh man, Lars Sullivan could have some serious tweets about Griggs. I'm just saying.
Yes, he could. Yes, he could. Griggs is the walking stereotype, isn't he?
They'd all end with hashtag I need a can of lube. Griggs is like, why the hell did I make these fuckers a damn image for this thing? Right. He did our awesome graphic, by the way. All of our awesome graphics he does, because he does all of our graphics, because the rest of us have zero talent. He's thinking to himself, what the hell did I do that for?
Yeah, so if our graphics start to suck, you know why. At least we can use Griggs' past graphics that he's already made.
I know. I'm just waiting for our next show when he sends the graphic out and it's titled "Dude's Right Hand and a Can of Lube." And I earned
a bottle of Jergens.
Right. A big old bottle of Jergens is on the front, or Vaseline or something. I just looked like, yeah, I earned it. All right, what's the next topic? We gotta get this topic quick.
Let's jump into some AEW Dynamite and some Impact that we got.
There we go.
Yeah, let's go into some of the stuff that we really want to talk about. Let's go over some of the big things. We had the wedding with Miro and Miro was there, I should say. With
Penelope, it was his wedding. He kept saying it was his wedding. I didn't understand. I thought it was a language barrier, but it was his wedding.
So we also had. You were right. This was really out of place when you look at James Mitchell officiating the wedding. Now, obviously, Impact fans know James Mitchell, and if you're a WCW fan, you know James Mitchell when he was James Vanderbeek. I mean, he didn't really have that big of an impact in WCW. He was Sinister Minister in ECW, but anyways, him officiating the wedding that was out of nowhere. Like. It was like they couldn't figure anyone.
We need somebody to officiate a wedding. I know a minister. Right. Let's get him. They come up with this idiot.
Maybe Tony Khan was backstage when he was at Impact. It was just like, oh, hey, you can do it. All right. Come on down to Jacksonville. Dude, what was your thoughts of this angle?
Well, first of all, it was this part anyway was cute, and yeah, there's a lot to say about this. This part was cute, but when he said to having to grope, right? And he's saying this to Kip Sabian. I'm going, oh man, here we go with this. Here we go with the with the social justice warriors. Talking about groping the hot wife. Because, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, dude. I would grope her if I was married to her. And if my wife walks in, my wife would be like, damn right he would. Because, I grope her all the time, too. So, it's just part of living with me. So, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go with the social justice warriors, right? And she likes it, too, by the way. I should add before people go ham on me.
And you're not going to get Marilyn Manson right now, right?
Right. I'm going to get Marilyn Manson. I'm going to have to shut down the Twitter account I never use anyway. And then he turns around and he says the same thing. He says the same thing to Penelope Ford, right? And you're like, well, I guess at least he was even with it, right? So many things are just wrong about this. First of all, apparently this actually was their official wedding ceremony because they couldn't have a wedding ceremony. So they did this. They are married. Apparently they got married a week or two ago or something along those lines. So they got married. They went to the courthouse and did their thing. They're hoping to have a party and a reception. When they, when COVID is lifts. But one part of the reason why I really like these two, and it's her that I like more than him. It's just because I don't know, I don't like him, but they're good kids. Right, they don't care about all that stuff. They just want to be married and do married couple things and sit inside. And well, I know he wants to stay inside with her anyway, but I wouldn't let her out of my damn sight.
Yeah.
But you get the point. Like they're real people. They're good people. So we're gonna make lots of Penelope Ford jokes as we're the fucking HeelCast. The God's honest truth is that unlike some of these other bitches that are running around on the internet, she actually appears to be an absolute sweetheart and a really great human being. Sam's that jelly Nutella mistake that she made, but she fixed it. So we're all good now. So that was the first thing that struck me as weird. I don't understand where James Mitchell fits in this at all. I mean, there was nothing sinister about this wedding, and it didn't fit his persona to have him there, and they didn't do anything at all to. It was just he was the minister of the wedding, and we were all supposed to know who he was, which we did because we're nerds, we're marks. But the average fan is like, what the hell? This makes no sense to me. Then you've got Miro running around saying that it's his wedding. I didn't get that at all. And then you've got Charles. I don't understand how Chuck Taylor got in. I know the storyline of how he got involved. People you don't need to post in the comments, but it still makes no sense at all that he's somehow their butler after one loss. He is shackling, Miro, and the whole world can see it. Like, you'd have to be blind to not notice that Chuck was screwing around Miro's feet. I mean, the camera work was just insanely terrible at that particular point in time. So that made no sense at all. But then you're looking at the cake, and as soon as he takes that box, you're thinking he's going to lift that box, and it's going to be Orange Cassidy. You know it. Again, he beats the crap out of them. And there's nothing in the box. The box is empty, which is just like there should have been like something in the goddamn box, right? Then they pan over past the cake and you're like, Jesus Christ. Orange Cassidy is gonna pop out of Penelope Ford's wedding cake. Right? And then Orange Cassidy pops out. And you're just like, saw that one coming from a mile away. Overall, It was a cute segment. It really was a cute segment. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Weddings are always a fun thing, and they did some fun things with it. But there were some things in this one that were just, like, mind-boggling.
Well, at least nobody got shot, right?
Oh, good God above. See, but then James Mitchell might have had a role.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, so... I mean, they hyped this up for quite a while. Do you think the payoff was worth it, or at least to the point where they could go no further really with it? I mean, are you satisfied with the outcome?
I mean, all they really did was say, we're going to get married, we're going to get married, we're going to get married. Like, they didn't, like... They just put them on TV once in a while and said, we're going to get married. I didn't think that the hype was... It was like, oh, okay, here comes the wedding. Say, that's this week? I wasn't, like, excited for it. Like, EY and ODB. Like, dude, that was like, second to, Macho and Liz. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And there were other weddings along the way, but Brooke and Bully, that was a really good wedding, actually. But, like, they did a good job at building that one up. I don't know how much I cared about it, but, they did a good job at building that one up. This one was just, like, I don't know. They talked about it on some like, they advertised it, but it was just more like Tony Khan wanted to give the two kids a wedding gift, and he put it on TV for them, is kind of how it felt. Which, hey, that's the nice of the billionaire to put these young kids' wedding on TV and let their families be able to see them. I can respect that, but I wasn't hyped.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's, with weddings, you can only do so much, but I feel like a lot of times it's either the bride doesn't want to marry the groomsman, and, it's all... Well,
she's not supposed to want to marry the groomsman. I mean, only if I'm the groomsman.
The groom. I'm sorry, yeah. The groom. But, I mean, you had Kane. I mean, I know you're not a big WWE watch, but this is when I watched. I mean, you had Kane and Lita, which was like the opposite, where they had to get married, but Lita didn't want to marry Kane, obviously. So, but then you had Macho and Liz, like you said, and I think that's probably the best one.
That's a standard bearer, right? That's a standard bearer.
Yeah.
But you were so invested in them.
Jay Lethal and, what was her name? Gosh, I can't even remember her name now. The redheaded chick from TNA, and then Jake the Snake Roberts was involved in that one somehow. But anyways, Sanjay Dutt was the one who ruined that, I believe. But yeah, I don't know. Weddings are kind of overdone, and you can only do so much with them. So it was what it was, I guess, just to put a wrap on it. But we had a conversation last week about New Japan that, funny how it kind of played into this week. And at the end of Dynamite, we saw Kenta come out and take out Jon Moxley. So, first off, the partnership is happening. And, Kenta lives in Orlando, so this was, a way for them to kind of start it off, because there's not, the travel restrictions and everything. So, dude, what are you excited for this?
Well, I mean, I'm not as big a New Japan fan as Impact, so to say that I'm as excited as I was, and honestly, when Don, handed Kenny the mic, the whole thing kicked off, and and they said they were going to Impact. I mean, the shock factor, that was insane, and it's Impact. So to say it's the same, it's not as exciting, but this is probably a bigger deal, because now you got a third company involved, and you don't know how they're involved yet, because you've got You got Kenta hitting and beating on Mox, right? And he's aligning now, right? He is absolutely aligning with the Bullet Club, because that's what he was doing with Kenny Omega, and we talked about this last week. You heard it here on the HeelCast first, folks. We called it. We said it. There's like 10 ways I need to say that, and then I need to hit enter and send on my Facebook post, because that's apparently how you do it. But we talked about this, that this had to be a partnership. It was a partnership, and there was no way they were using the Bullet Club without them knowing it. But now you've got who's Tama Tonga, right?
Yes.
Over there denouncing the Bullet Club. So is the New Japan Bullet Club going to split? Some go one way, some go the other way. I mean, New Japan is clearly in on this. They're not letting Tama Tonga run his mouth for nothing. So in a lot of ways, this is more intriguing because you kind of felt like you knew how Impact was going to unfold. This one, you don't know how it's going to unfold, right? I mean, just imagine if they go to that women's title match, right? And the whole thing erupts, because they're doing that tournament. One of the Japanese girls win, and they all come back, and they all screw the, wait for it, Japanese champion out of the belt, and it becomes NJPW taking over the women's division. I don't know, because they're all seemingly Japanese in the tournament anyway. Who knows how this plays out? So I am really excited for it, but not like I was for Impact.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. I'm not just, I don't watch New Japan that much. So I just, and when I did watch it, it just seems like New Japan's just more of 30-minute matches, and they have press conferences at the end with little storylines. So I don't feel like their storylines are... I need a good storyline to hook me into wrestling, and I feel like New Japan isn't really based on that. It's more like they treat it as a legitimate sport, and that's fine. I'm not really, it's not my thing. So, Kenta, I mean, obviously he's very familiar. He's a familiar face with the American audience because he was in WWE for a while. So, yeah, he's a bigger name, and you can put him out there right away. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm also interested to see if this is gonna be, it's almost gonna cross into Impact too, because they've been dropping some New Japan hints in the past 3 months or so. So be interested to see how far this actually goes. Could be some good stuff coming down the line. And the next thing I wanted to talk to you about was, you mentioned it earlier, was the women's tournament for a shot at Shida. We have a bunch of Japanese women wrestlers. I believe a lot of them are based out of the promotion Stardom, which New Japan owns. But what did you think of this with, putting all these Japanese wrestlers in? And I'm kind of surprised they didn't put any Impact knockouts in there, because I thought that would have been a perfect time to put some knockouts in and kind of mix it up with the two rosters. So were you kind of surprised by that?
Well, you know the answer to this question because you posted the graphic in our chat, and I immediately responded back, what the fuck? Why not? Why no Impact talent? Why no AEW talent? You got these females you're throwing all over the place. It's like you're trying to figure out what sticks. You're going to throw as much shit at the fan as you can and see what sticks, right? Why not?
Yeah.
We have proven that we do not invest in a Japanese, and I think Shida's great, and I loved Riho. I miss Riho. She's just a cute little girl, right? You just can't help but want to root for Riho. But we didn't, as a fan base, we didn't get behind these people. The ones you need to push, Britt Baker and Penelope Ford. Britt Baker is really dude, she has improved 100-fold since she got the freaking AEW. Do not kid yourself. That girl has put the time and the effort in, and she has improved immensely. And then you got Penelope Ford. Just look at Penelope Ford and you go, I could build an entire damn division around her. She looks like $10 fucking million, dude. She's not a bad wrestler either. She can wrestle. She's not, she's not Charlotte Flair, okay? But she can wrestle. They could build the entire damn thing around her. She could be the bitch that everybody hates, and she could be the dame that everybody wants to, come and rescue. And she could kick ass too. Because she's not tiny, She's actually not a little girl. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, dude. I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
And the thing that confused me too is they're gonna have to do kind of what Impact was doing, where they're showing like these different matches in different buildings, because I don't think they're flying all this talent into Jacksonville. I could be wrong on that, but I almost feel like these matches are going to be filmed in Japan. I don't know. I honestly don't know if they're able to bring all these wrestlers over. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I mean, who knows, man? Maybe they'll fly them all over on one jet. Maybe, Shad Khan's man, he should be married to Shaka Khan. Maybe he's going to fly his private jet over, bring him over, one foul swoop, have them all tested, send them out, do their match. And who the hell knows? Those people are money marks like you've never seen before in your life, my friend.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously, rich people do have special privileges. Side note, I just want to mention this real quick. One of the Milwaukee Bucks owners' sons, he's only 33 years old, got a COVID vaccine before a lot of people in the state. And nonetheless, a lot of people are pretty upset about that. So it doesn't surprise me when rich people have special privileges. So maybe we will see them in the Daly's place. So I don't know. I know a few of them just from Twitter and watching some highlights. Obviously, Asia Kong, I'm familiar with her because, I mean, damn, she wrestled in the WWF in the mid-90s. So.
Right?
Yeah. I know who she is. So I guess it'll be interesting to see. We'll get some exposure and see how well they perform. So could be interesting, but it also does seem like one side of the bracket is the Japan bracket and the other side is the US. So I don't think you're going to get much interaction until the championship. So on the Impact side of things, we did get a return. Well, actually, we got two returns. We got Mahabali Shera came back to reunite with Hakeem Zayn or Rohit Raju. I like Shera. He always. He's improved, not a lot, but he's a little green still. But whatever. He looks intimidating. At least he's got over that damn Shera shuffle. That
I was going to say, all I can remember is that stupid dance what they did with his hands.
Oh, gosh. And Dixie Carter did.
Dixie Carter did it too. Yes, he's forever a dweeb because of that.
Oh, man. We also got a returning ODB.
Bam!
Bam! Wham! Bam! Thank you, ma'am.
Go Griggs. Go Griggs.
But yeah, no, I'm excited about ODB. I think that was a solid move, especially with Madison Rayne retiring. So I was happy about that. So
I always like when I get ODB on my TV screen. She's doses. She come and go for a few months, leave for a while, come back for a few months. She's just fun. You know what I mean? She's never gonna draw a dime, but she don't care as long as she got her flask and gets to bartend and then sell. She's got a food truck. I forget what she sells out of her food truck, but she'll be just fine. You know what I mean? She's just a good old gal. I wanted to say barbecue too. I wanted to say something, but ribs rings a bell. But she's a good old boy. And you can't help but like somebody like her. You know what I mean? You'd certainly love to hang out with her one night. God, that would be a blast.
Yeah, no kidding. And she's lost a lot of weight, so she's gotten herself into good shape. So that's good to see. So I'm excited to see what she can do back in Impact. So her
implants haven't lost any weight though.
No, those are the same. Those are the same. Really, there's not a lot. We got No Surrender, which is an Impact Plus event. I'm glad they're kind of treating those like small, bigger shows, but not big enough for like a pay-per-view. So, whatever. still want to see Moose in that title, win that title eventually. So
God, they gotta put that belt on Moose. Just put the goddamn belt on Moose already. You're giving me a goddamn migraine.
Yeah, no kidding. And kind of wrap up the Impact portion. Trey Miguel released a statement of, well, he was on the Taylor Wilde podcast, Wild On, and he just basically explained why he didn't want to go to WWE and why working with Impact meets his preference at this point in his life. So, you know what? I give the guy a lot of props. I mean, he weighed the good versus the bad, and you know, it was just at this point in time, it's better for him to stay with Impact for family reasons and many other reasons. He runs a wrestling school, or he's a teacher at one of the wrestling schools. So it was a pretty cool story. I know you got to check out the interview.
Yeah, I liked it actually. I've never been a Trey Miguel fan, to be brutally honest with you, but he's definitely a good kid. I mean, you read that and he wants to be with his family, watch his nephew grow up. Nephew had some issues being premature and was in the hospital for a couple months. And he's like, why would I not want to be around this miracle? Why would I want to move across the country? You know, got some health issues, I think, in the family to go along with it. And he's a trainer at a wrestling school. And he's just like, you know what? I don't need wrestling the way that, you know, Dez and Wentz need wrestling. You know, they got families to support, and they got to worry about this and they got to worry about that. You know, I have other things in other ways. And I don't need to move to Orlando full time and probably lose money in the process. So, I might not be a huge fan of him as a wrestler, but I think as a human being, right? He's a good kid.
Yeah, and I agreed with him everything he said about the Rascals. There wasn't much they could do going forward with that.
They could have given him the belts. I mean, there was that.
Yeah, there was that. They could have gotten a push. I mean. Yeah, don't even get me started. That's another rant I could go on for 30 minutes, is how the Rascals were booked in their 2-year history. But yeah, it is what it is. We don't got time for that. But yeah, that's really all there is this week for the crazy world of wrestling. I mean, some good things coming up, obviously, but
outstanding stuff is coming ahead of us, folks. This partnership. This multi-company partnership, let's get AAA involved and let's just get this thing to explode. I cannot wait. This is going to be an awesome time in professional wrestling, and we're going to be here to talk about it. We're going to be doing it on a regular basis. Damn it.
Hell yeah, and I hope we get one mega show out of this. That's what I'm really hoping. Just a huge, like, Super Bowl pay-per-view style, just to compete against WrestleMania. I would love to see it, because now's the time. WrestleMania is 2 days long. It's going to be 2 days of boring watching paint dry. I can promise you that. So now is the time to plan this huge event. And I know it's hard to do right now because of COVID, but let's just say that, you know, some things are starting to look at least positive with opening up. So now's the time to start planning. That's all I got to say.
Well, my friend, I got nothing else, man. You want to wrap this thing?
Let's send her home. All right, well, we hope you enjoyed tonight's episode of the HeelCast. We will be back next week. We're out of here.
See ya!